There exist locations in this world where history remains ever present, where the remnants of anguish adhere to the walls like lingering specters. Waverly Hills Sanatorium exemplifies such a site. It is a place where countless individuals took their final breaths, where despair permeated the very structure, and where an unsettling presence endures. Some assert that the spirits of the deceased still wander these corridors, sharing their grief with the living. Others contend that the building has transformed into a gateway to something far more malevolent. This evening, we embark on a journey beyond the confines of time, delving into the essence of Waverly Hills, where the distinction between the living and the deceased has nearly vanished. Our narrative commences in the late 19th century, during a time when Louisville flourished, yet beneath its prosperity lay a hidden menace: tuberculosis. This lethal illness, referred to as the White Plague, spread rapidly, claiming its victims through a slow and excruciating demise. Families were shattered, and the city's medical facilities became inundated. In a desperate bid to address the crisis, officials sought a location to isolate the afflicted, a sanctuary away from the bustling streets where they could receive care or face their end. Consequently, in 1910, a modest wooden sanatorium was constructed on the fog-laden hills overlooking Louisville. The site was selected for its fresh air, believed to be beneficial for tuberculosis patients. However, as the epidemic escalated, so did the demand for a more expansive facility. By 1926, Waverly Hills Sanatorium, an imposing Gothic-style edifice, was inaugurated. With its grand archways, soaring windows, and extensive sterile hallways, it served as both a symbol of hope and a site of terror. Patients arrived with trepidation, clinging to the faint possibility of recovery, yet most would never depart. They had unwittingly entered a realm where suffering was unavoidable and death loomed perpetually. Life at Waverly Hills was an unyielding struggle between optimism and despair. Medical staff dedicated themselves to their work, yet the treatments often proved to be as harsh as the afflictions they aimed to combat. Patients endured experimental therapies. Some were brutal, while others were shockingly inhumane. Fresh air therapy compelled them to lie outside in frigid temperatures, their bodies shivering beneath blankets as the wind howled around them. Treatments involving sun exposure left them with painful blisters and extreme weakness. However, these experiences paled in comparison to the more horrific procedures that lay ahead. Among the most agonizing interventions conducted within these walls was thoracoplasty. Surgeons would remove ribs, sometimes as many as 8 or 10 at once, to provide diseased lungs with additional space to expand. Many patients did not survive this ordeal, their final moments filled with excruciating pain under the surgeon's knife. Another prevalent method involved inflating balloons within the lungs, a desperate measure intended to enhance airflow, but it frequently resulted in suffocation. The cries of the afflicted became an integral part of the atmosphere at Waverly Hills. The sanatorium evolved into a battleground where scientific endeavor met profound desperation. Patients lived in a state of perpetual anxiety, acutely aware that each new treatment could potentially be their last. Those who fell victim to the illness were discreetly removed via the underground Body Chute, ensuring that the living remained oblivious to the daily toll of loss. In an environment where death was commonplace, a grim solution emerged: the notorious Body Chute. Formerly known as the Death Tunnel, This 500-foot subterranean passage connected the hospital to the base of the hill. Initially constructed for transporting supplies, it soon became a method for the quiet disposal of the deceased. One by one, lifeless bodies were transported through its dimly lit corridor, out of sight of the living, to be placed into waiting hearses. Envision the dread experienced by the patients left behind. They were acutely aware that with each passing day, more of their loved ones would be consumed by that tunnel. How long would it be until their own fate was sealed? The tunnel became a representation of despair, a one-way route where the deceased outnumbered the living. It absorbed their sorrow, their terror, and their final whispered prayers. Some assert that even now, the souls lost within its confines remain ensnared. Enum. Paranormal investigators have long asserted that the tunnel remains active, albeit not with the living. Visitors recount unsettling whispers, the sensation of cold hands brushing against their skin, and the eerie feeling of being observed from the shadows. Some claim to have heard the clattering of gurneys and the sound of footsteps that should not exist. Is it merely the wind, or is there something lurking? Among the many tragic narratives associated with Waverly Hills, none are as haunting as the story of Room 502. The accounts surrounding this room are shrouded in enigma, yet one element remains unwavering: death. In 1928, a young nurse was discovered hanging from a light fixture within the room. Some suggest she took her own life upon learning she was pregnant out of wedlock, abandoned by the doctor who fathered her child. Others believe she had unearthed a dreadful secret within the hospital, one that led to her silencing. However, the sorrow does not conclude there. Years later, another nurse allegedly jumped from the window of room 502, falling to her demise. Was it despair that compelled her to such an end, or was there an unseen force urging her onward? To this day, visitors report glimpsing a shadowy figure near the window of the room, as if yearning for an escape that never materialized. Some hear anguished sobbing, while others sense an invisible presence suffocating them, a cruel echo of the nurse's final moments. The lingering question persists: were these women driven by hopelessness, or was there something far more malevolent at work? Waverly Hills Sanatorium has endured through the ages, its walls forever marked by the remnants of history. The spirits of former patients, nurses, and physicians remain in the shadows, their narratives continuing to resonate. This site is steeped in history, sorrow, and enigma. Traversing its corridors is akin to entering a different realm, where the living coexist with the departed. If you attune your ears, you might just catch their whispers calling out to you. If you found this documentary engaging, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments regarding this location. Additionally, if you know of a haunted or enigmatic site you would like us to explore, please inform us. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode, featuring a new mystery. Until then, stay safe and steer clear of the darkness.